So now I will be making the stripes of the Yankees uniform, and I'm using this plastic. It's the same one that you use, I believe, in the kitchen, and I think I got it from Amazon. I bought it a while back when I was making polymer clay more. And so what I'm doing is that I'm hurling thin pieces of this, and it's going to look like this, to put into this soap, hopefully. I did try cutting it off from the block, but it was too difficult to do that, and it was breaking off. So I think this will work better. I'm pretty much just rolling or just squeezing this in to create a long elongated shape. And at times I do have to lift the plastic and replace it so that it allows room for the soap to expand, for the soap dough to expand. And this is about a template of the measurement that I'm looking for. So it's gonna be quite thinner, but I did start with the elongated shape. And I'm not really sure how many of these I'm going to make, but I think it'll be at around 5 or 6. The way that I created this color was using blue mica, and I also use charcoal powder to get a darker blue. And I do find that this plastic film helps, because otherwise I was getting the soap dough stuck to the tile, and it was becoming difficult to remove because it's quite thin. It looks like I need it a little bit longer, but I'm almost there as far as the width of it. It may be a little too thick compared to the one that I made previously. Let's see. Not that much though. And I do intend to keep it in this plastic sheets until I make the soap. That way it doesn't start curing. And because it is so thin, if exposed to air, I will guess that it will cure quite fast. It will at least evaporate water. It will become hard very fast. I do wonder if I could put soap dough through a pasta machine like I did clay, but I haven't tried yet. Okay, so I have here the lard, the coconut oil, and the shea butter, and this is the olive oil. Right now it is 123. The olive oil is room temperature, and that's making it come to 110. my water, it's at 101. So here we go. I'm not adding any sodium lactate because I'm using a high percentage of hard oils or butters, I guess. So I don't think I need to add it to make it unmold faster. I think just because I'm using so much lard and coconut oil and shea butter, that it should be fairly quick to unmold. Okay, I need to move this over here. And now I'm just gonna blend it until I reach medium trace.
Guess what?
What?
The guy you like so much from the Yankees.
I don't like it so much.
Yankees released him.
Really?
Yeah, he's not that good. And he's like, so they put him on a DF, meaning a designated assignment, meaning they just take him off the roster.
So I kept blending until I reached medium trace, and I kept checking on it every so often. I wanted to be able to do some texture on the top of the soap, and that's what I was aiming for, a thicker than usual trace. However, I should have added the fragrance before I reach medium trace, because it's always better to do it when it's thin trace. That way, if the fragrance happens to accelerate, it won't go so fast from to a hard mix. But at least I remember. Sometimes I have forgotten to put the fragrance at all, and because I have such a small bottle, I and this bottle's about 4 ounces, and I needed about 2 ounces. What I did is that I weighed the total weight of the fragrance in the bottle, and then I added it to the mix, and I put it back on the scale, because I believe, if I remember correctly, the fragrance in the bottle without the cap weighed like 4.67 ounces. I know I wanted to use 2 ounces, so I kept adding it to the mix until the scale reflected 2.67 ounces. Just subtracted the 2 ounces from there. Now, if you have a scale that doesn't have a long auto shut off time, then this may backfire. However, this scale will stay on for a long time. Usually, I have to turn it off manually because it does stay on for a while. Then I mixed the fragrance with a stick blender, which I knew was gonna make it thicker, and then I was going to add titanium dioxide too, which will also mean that it was gonna get thicker. So I tried to just blend it just enough that I didn't see the fragrance disperse anymore. Sometimes I keep a container with water and I put the blender in it and work it just so that it cleans it a little bit. I'm not done using it, but I just do it so that it doesn't accumulate too much of soap batter left. Okay, so now I'm dividing part of the batter into containers, and I'm going to add the colorant. This is just gonna be for the top design. So I really don't need a whole lot, just a little bit to do the green and then the brown, and then the big container will have the titanium dioxide. So I dispersed it a little bit with water, and now I'm gonna use the stick blender to distribute it evenly. My butter, as you can see, is getting thick, so I did have to blend it for quite a bit to make it sure it was smooth. And you can tell that when you add titanium dioxide to a mix, it somehow accelerates it slightly. That butter, it will set quicker, and I could definitely see that in this soap, because I did pour the leftover one. So once I mixed it enough, I move on to the next colors. So the first one will be the green, and with this I'm going to make the grass looking portion of the soap. And I'm not using the stick blender for this one because it's a very small quantity of butter, and normally when I use the stick blender with such small amounts, I just introduce a lot of air bubbles, so it's not worth it. What I did to help it though is that I did disperse it in oil, like almond oil, and the brown one is just cocoa powder. And that one I disperse in water because it's the Dutch process kind, which has been formulated especially to be easily dispersed in water. And I know that because my oils are light colored and I'm using lard and coconut oil, for example. Um, I'm going to end up with a very light color soap naturally. So I'm making both the brown and the green darker than what I want them to be, because I know that once the soap starts curing, it's gonna lighten up. And so to make up for it, I just go for a darker shade when I'm mixing the colors. Ready to pour. Here we go. Just pretty thick, and that's what I wanted actually, because I need the blue lines to hopefully stay still and don't fall to the side. I could see some residue of the titanium dioxide. That's what I'm shaking it some more. I mean stirring it. So I'm pretty much just going to fill this whole thing with it. Just like that. And the leftover I'm going to put it here. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to wait until it sets a little bit. So I'm probably going to wait a couple minutes, maybe 5 minutes, I'm not sure. And then I'll come back and add the blue lines and the embeds. So see you in a bit. Okay, so I put the first one here. And I'm gonna use, that might be as deep as it goes. So I probably waited maybe 2-3 minutes, and because it has titanium dioxide, that helps make it firm, or it makes the butter set. Now I did have to trim this a little bit. It made them a little too long. And there we go. So I'm trying to keep it straight. But it's not very straight to begin with. So I'll do this until I fill the rest. I do need to trim this a little bit. And I thought before about putting marks on the mold of where I wanted the lines to be so that they'll be even. But then at the end I decided to just wing it. Now this line, this blue line, it's not cured. And I actually, when I press with the spoon, I can see that I made an indentation on it because the plastic, this deli plastic, has kept it from curing, so it's fairly soft. Okay, so what's next is to put the this. It's very thick now, so I'm going to put it over here on 1/2 of the soap. And then the brown part is going to go here next to it. I'm not going to worry about doing that white line that the brown part has. I feel it's complicated enough, this soap as it is. Okay, so with this spoon, maybe I need a smaller one. I'm going to try to do this spiky to make it look like grass, simulated grass. I wonder if something pointy, yeah, that should work better. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted the trays to be medium. Well, right now it's pretty thick enough, so that I could do this grass texture. Now, not all of it is going to be seen because some of it is going to be covered by the embeds. But I thought it would be nice if the green simulated grass. Now for the brown portion, I was going to do powdered cocoa, but I don't think I will. Change my mind about it. I'm afraid it's going to get onto the white and then it's going to get into the green. So I'm just going to leave it as it is. Now it's time to put the embeds. So on the brown part I'm going to do a base. And I also have a home base. And in the green part, I'm going to do the bat. This bat might be too big, as I think it is. I'm going to remove it, and I'm going to put the smaller one instead. I also have some baseballs. But anyway, this is pretty much it. I'll just add some more embeds on it, and then I'll show you when I cut it after it hardens. Okay, so it's time to unmold it. It's been a few hours, but it feels already hard, mainly because I use really heavy solid butters, solid oils. It is slightly soft, but not so much. So it wasn't completely easy to remove it from the mold. It did give me some hard time because part of it was still soft. However, I wanted it to be somewhat soft because I needed to insert more embeds on it. So I wanted to make sure it was in the inside still soft enough that I will be able to put those embeds in.